Season 4 of HBO's Succession contains exciting developments in the corporate structure of Waystar Royco. This organizational chart shows the structure before Logan dies. We're going to take this chart and show the variations of the acquisition by GoJo and Lucas Mattsson with and without the ATN carve-out. And here's ATN down in the broadcast media division of Waystar Royco. So the first thing we're going to do is come up and copy this chart, and we'll give this copy a new name. We'll just say GoJo. And the first thing we need to do is remove Logan. Well, it breaks my heart to do it. We're just going to take Logan off of the chart. And the chart redraws automatically, and we'll see that we still have Waystar Royco here and its ownership structure. But let's get Lucas and GoJo on this canvas here. So we're just going to come in here and create a little mini chart with those two entities. Since we don't know a lot about the structure of GoJo, and then we'll add Lucas Mattsson here. So now we have this little mini chart over here, although this is where the money for the acquisition is coming that is going to acquire Waystar Royco here. Now, the first thing we want to do is carve out for ATN. So presumably the Roy children would form some new legal entity that would hold ATN as a part of this deal. So what we'll do is come in here, and I'm just going to invent, this is not in the plot, I'm just making an assumption, and we're going to have the Roy children. So we'll start with Shiv, and then we'll add Kendall, and then we'll add Roman as the shareholders of Roy Newco. And then Roy Newco and ATN now is no longer going to be part of the broadcast media group in this version of the acquisition. So now we have that carve out of ATN, no longer a part of Waystar Royco or broadcast media. But now we have to put GoJo in and its acquisition of Waystar Royco and remove these other shareholders. Now, presumably, there would be a mix of stock in GoJo as well as cash so these shareholders would also now be shareholders in GoJo. So let's accomplish all of that. We'll do that in the chart window here too. So we're going to put Waystar in focus, and then here are the existing shareholders. So we're just going to remove all of these folks, and we're simply going to put GoJo as its shareholder. But then we're going to come up and look at GoJo, and what we want to do is all of these shareholders would receive some level of stock in GoJo as a part of this deal. So we'll add Caroline and the public shareholders, formerly of Waystar Royco, Maysbury Capital, and let's take a look at how that looks. Oh, the family trust, of course, needs to be in there as well. And so we'll come back in here and say the family trust. And now we have all of those entities. Here's Lucas, and I'll come in and make those stand out a little better here for us. And so here now we have ownership of GoJo, and the family trust is also going to own some of that stock as the fact that it was an owner in Waystar Royco and received stock in GoJo as a part of that acquisition. But the Roy children end up with Roy Newco and ATN over here as well. Now, they wanted to acquire Pierce. So there are a couple of ways we could model that. Maybe Pierce becomes a subsidiary of ATN. Maybe the Pierce family wouldn't be happy about that. So we'll make them an affiliate, and we can just come in here and say Pierce and show that as well. And so now we have these three entities, all part of the corporate family here. We'll just come in and make them blue. And now you have Pierce and ATN under Roy Newco, owned by 3 of the 4 Roy children, and Waystar Royco is owned by GoJo. So that's the carve out. That's what that looks like. And if we want to show what it would look like with a whole company acquisition, that's quite straightforward. So we'll go back to our original canvas with that chart there, and we'll make another copy of this quickly. So we're going to come back in, and again, what we'll do is we'll add GoJo as an entity, and we'll add Lucas as the owner. Now what we're going to do is come in here and just add Waystar Royco. I'm just going to stay in this chart window and take care of all of the changes because it's so easy to do. And we'll come in and remove the family trust, Caroline, and then we're going to make them all shareholders along with Lucas. So there's Caroline and the public shareholders and Maysbury and the family trust. And now we have a picture with no carve out. Here is ATN still in the broadcast network division and Waystar Royco. And presumably on this chart, you would also show the other GoJo entities as well, and maybe some consolidation. And this is just the corporate structure chart. So it doesn't obviously include the management, quote unquote, synergies or overlapping bits where the individual players and who they report to. So this would be just the ownership, business, and legal structure of the entity. And there you have those two scenarios, both with a carve out of ATN and the whole company acquisition.